An election year is upon us, which is truly an exciting event. The opportunity for a change of president only comes once every 4 years, which grants it quadruple the scarcity and therefore the anticipation and value of a visit from Santa Claus himself. I don't know about you, but I get downright excited for an election year. I get excited by every single presidential candidate who has enough money to buy a nomination. It's such a grand spectacle to see. We get to see men and women with so much money you can hear the creases of crisp bills folding from their lips and floating their words down to the peons who elect them, filthy rich serpents in business suits hissing their lies and kissing our asses. It's so humorous to watch them all pretend to share our strife and poverty that they and others like them have in large part inflicted upon us over the last 4 years. It's delectable watching them strive to relate to the belt-tightening poor, knowing they haven't missed a single meal or shared a solitary day of genuinely common struggle. How could they, while they were busy struggling themselves to roll pens over papers and decide who to kill next with our money? I love observing their interactions with the dumbfounded public they hope to rule, or as they say while they beg for our votes, they hope to serve. I don't remember the last time a politician served me, now that I think about it. I really don't even remember the last time a politician bothered to ask me my personal opinion on something, unless it was if I'd registered to vote or not, and if that vote was going to them. It's strange how seldom the people who beg to represent me actually inquire my opinion on matters. It seems they feel that since the majority voted them in, the majority is content to let them make the decisions on their own, and of course, for the most part, that's valid given how low our voter turnout is. But that doesn't surprise me given our government's history of failing to carry out the simplest marching orders of the people, let alone to ask for opinions. The instant I stop paying their salaries, however, I'm quick to hear from them. It's remarkable how quickly the smell of currency drifting away snags their attention and inspires their glands to salivate. Contradictions in the illusion that politicians are actually there to serve us aside, there's actually something very exciting about election years. It's the part where I get to hear every person running for office spout like a busted fire hydrant about his or her masterpiece plan for improving the entire debacle, obviously caused entirely by whoever was previously in charge with no influence whatsoever from their own parties. You know, that same person who had spoken with equal passion about a masterpiece plan of his or her own, just 4 years prior. We get to hear a myriad of firecracker, flawless solutions from expert problem solvers who seem to think that they can walk into office, wave a single wand of their policy through the air, and cause all of Congress to suddenly operate like a well-oiled machine in its relentless zeal to carry out their perfect plans. After the inauguration is when the real fun begins, though. That's when we get to sit back and watch the implementation of that master plan of the lucky winner. It's when the Armageddon status of our nation that we heard about from every non-incumbent candidate is cleaved by the silver bullet that we forged in the voting booths. We get to marvel in the majesty of how one person holding one office can gallop into the White House on a white steed and solve all the problems that he or she posed such simple answers for while standing behind podiums for the last year. We get to watch the country transform over the next 4 years into a sterling example for the world, all of Congress uniting under new leadership. Finally, that painfully partisan Congress will stop bickering and backstabbing one another for fear of one's success stripping the credibility of the other, because the savior we elect into office will wash away all of that internal political warfare with a pretty smile and a catchy slogan. Yes, we can put the country first. Yes, America can let America be America again, because a reformer with results wants real plans for real people to leave no child behind thanks to compassionate conservatism. Prosperity and progress for America's families. The better man for a better America will build a bridge to the 21st century. Oh me, oh my, we can't go wrong with a slew of slogans like that being chucked in a blender and served up cold to the American people. We can't go wrong with such superheroes in ties waiting to melt our problems all away, with such passion for solving them that they're willing to spend millions of dollars to campaign for a job with a $400,000 salary. All we have to do is cast our votes and sit back to let the fireworks fly. Election year, ladies and gentlemen. It's a high-budget film coming soon to a country near you.